guys to everyone, it's Ada from Poison Rock, and I give a welcome back to, as I said in the first interview, one of my favorite band and frontman. We have David Reece from Bangalore Choir. How are you, David?
Greetings, Ada. Thank you for having me back on Poison Rock. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here because people have been requested this interview, so meaning that people out there still loving Bangalore Choir. And of course, I mean, as I told you, how could I not? I mean, those that era, it's amazing. But this, especially the album is out now, and Act One, Act Two is out, and people are curious about rapid fire succession, about the meaning of the song. So, of course, it's let's say it's 16 songs, so of course maybe we won't cover it at all. We will try to do our best. So if the fans maybe they have particular question, that I think they can write in the comment, or write it to you through, and just ask more first, or maybe we will cover it another time. We will try to do our best. So
that's the beauty of Act One and Act Two. Maybe we could do another interview next month or January and cover Act Two and talk about that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We are gonna start. So let's say clearly to the people watching this interview, we are starting with Act One on rapid fire succession on target. So of course, if we can't cover the part two, there will be another video for you following up, so people can actually enjoy it, the meaning, feel it more, and not having too much information in just one interview, because sometimes this can be they lose the meaning. So of course, first, of course, I wanted to ask you that why this decision of doing Act One and Act Two?
It was kind of a thought process that I had 25, 26 songs, I think.
Oh.
And I wrote 5 before I felt like I was close to the On Target vibe.
Okay.
And it wasn't there yet. I was writing with Andy Susamil again, who I've written with for 40 years. And we would work on riffs and back and forth on the internet. And I said, it's not there, because the whole goal was, if I'm going to do this with the brand, Bangalore Choir, I've done a few Bangalore records since 92 that, honestly, and I know it in my heart, there's like 2 or 3 really good ones, and then 7 fillers, 3 killers, 7 fillers. And I knew I never quite hit the mark. The second one was called Cadence. It had like 14 songs, I think. There were a lot better songs on that one. Then I did Metaphor. Okay. Then I did the live album, and then I did Center Mass. But I never quite. I said, if I'm going to do this, because it's all about branding, Ada. Yeah. I think we talked about this last time. Exactly. I was coming home from France last year, and I said, as a solo artist, I'm doing pretty well, but I want to do better. And I noticed people like Mike Tramp, Songs of White Lion, Firehouse, Cinderella with Tom Keepers, doing all his. I said, I've got to add the brand back. And as soon as I decided to do that, the agencies and the book, they're all like, yes. Now people can click. But I said, okay, I've got to resemble that. So I had to go back in my head to 1990, and that's hard to do. So the first 5 probably were not grabbing me. And then Andy wrote the riff for Driver's Seat.
Okay.
And it's a little similar to the song Slipping Away on Target. I said, that's it. So I wrote the lyric like in 5 minutes and sang it in the phone, sent it back to them, and I recorded it like the next day. And I think the second song was Bullet Train.
Okay.
So once it starts to rain, and the vibe happens, then you're on a roll. But it took some time. But in all honesty, the 16 tracks was, by the time I was done with my insanity, I think I had 25, 26 songs.
Yeah.
So I chose and broke it down. And then Giles at Brave Words said, the Bat Out of Hell thing with Steinman and Meatloaf and all that, why don't we make it in Act One, Act Two?
Yeah, exactly.
And I said, that's 100 minutes of music. Is that going to fit on a CD? What if the people get bored? He goes, the songs are too good, Dave. They're all really good. Don't worry about that. Let's do Act One, Act Two. So 8 and 8. So 16.
Yeah. And also what you mentioned, that's something like you said, with solo project, and then when you go back in time and just get, let's say, not the brand, but the Bangalore Choir was also it's your music. It's happened with many of musicians that in the 90s were, if they go solo, like for example Mike Trump or Mijanko Matijevic, from they, soon as they brought the name Still Art, White Lion, or any other, I don't know, Bullet, whatever, Bullet Boys, they bring it back, people jump. But it's also,
well, it's marketing and promoters.
Yeah.
It's so risky.
Yeah.
They identify the name. They can say, okay, it's Mark Tureen from Bullet Boys, but it's not Bullet Boys. Exactly. You could have, I mean, look at Foreigner. There's not any original members, but the name Foreigner, they're fabulous musicians, but that name and those songs people identify with. So
exactly. But I think sometimes this should give also a chance to the solo musician, because you are in the band, you were in the band, you made the music, you sang the music, so it's interesting also sometimes to just dive in other, solo project. And I think if any musician, like if we took Whitesnake, they have thousands of solo musicians in their album, and listening his own other project is amazing. It just, I don't go only with that. It's, I think, give also to the musician, or the band, especially those amazing band, like Bangalore Choir, just see also what was the David Reece by solo artist, just for what was released before. But going back on Target, so we start with that Act 1. We officially opened the let's begin the show. So of course the Act 1 started with this song, How Does It Feel? If we have to talk, of course, I think as a sound is the sound of Bangalore Choir. But as a lyric-wise, what is about this song?
How does it feel? Obviously, if I'm going to revisit the On Target vibe, I have to be similar to that era. Okay. So How Does It Feel has a bit of Angel in Black in it, the riff. Da, 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 da. But the lyric to me is kind of like a breakup thing where, how does it feel when the tables have turned? You da 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 da, now I'm watching you burn. So it's basically the lover saying, okay, now how does it feel that it's happened to you? Okay, you did it to me, and now I'm watching you from a distance, and they did it to you. How does it feel? It's kind of a I'm asking.
Yeah, it's kind of how in a relationship or in a friendship whatsoever, they kind of hurt you somehow or make you something to make you feel bad, and you're replying like, how does it feel now? Or
that's kind of the I mean, it's just kind of what popped in my head for the title with that riff, and the hand moves when I don't know if you write, but when you start to write, the hand kind of takes over, and you start writing a story, and you go, what am I talking about? And then you sing it, and you go, oh, it makes sense. It's a weird thing about music. I mean, you may have the title and all this stuff, and this makes no sense. And then when you record it, you listen back and go, oh, that's what I was trying to say. It's a beautiful thing about music.
Also,
it kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, beautiful things about one thing that I really like, and it's Bangalore Choir, many band, and I was having this conversation with a friend a couple of days ago when he was telling me, when I have discussion about music and era and things and that, say, in the 70s music like that, and in the 90s and the 80s there was all these band from LA or hard rock, lazy, that were only talking about the famous sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I said, no, you're missing the point. There was just maybe 4 bands, 6 bands, but the rest of them, they were talking about life and experience and feeling. And you have the most beautiful written song that are kind of poetry itself. So that's why I think talking also about this song is important today about On Target, because this is confirming that there's in this genre that all people stereotype outside, there's so much more, and because it's listening and feeling, you can feel. I can imitate myself in the song. How does it feel? I can listen and say, yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. How does it feel now that, for example, I break up, and how does it feel now that I left you alone after you left me alone, for example? Just an example.
Yeah. Yeah. When you sit back in the club and you're watching the person you were crazy about, or was a dear friend, and they abused you,
Yeah.
they lied to you, and then you see them crying in a corner and you just go, see, it hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I've never been a whoa, whoa, baby lyric guy. I mean, we all lived this pretend lifestyle in Los Angeles where we thought we had to have all the women, all the cocaine. It was
Yeah.
part of the lifestyle, but really it was so destructive that, and so false that, I mean, the videos got so big. I mean, you had the football stadium sized stages for
Yeah.
video shoots. I mean, what normal human being can go, I can relate to that? I
Exactly.
mean, the guy in the village down the road who's working 12 hours a day breaking his balls to feed his
Yeah.
family. He sees a guy with huge hair and 5 girls in a bed and he's rolling around singing a lyric. That's not reality, man. It's like that's one of the reasons I think that the 80s into the early
Yeah.
90s, we kind of committed suicide. We all dyed our hair blonde. We all wanted to look like David Lee Roth. We all worked out. We all laid in the sun. We all did blow. We all had the girls.
Yeah.
We had the Harley, and it was all the same movie over and over.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when let's say that it was a sad thing, that because it was changing also the way of writing and composing lyrics.
I really I was upset, obviously, when Rock kind of died. I know now, looking back, why, but when a guy like Kurt Cobain or Chris Cornell was wearing a flannel shirt and shorts and combat boots, living in a trailer in a rainy, crappy city like Seattle with no future.
Yeah.
And he's not able to take a bath. He lives alone with his mother. Exactly. And he's doing heroin to deal with every day. 99% of the American culture at that time, that was what was happening with young people. So they say, I can't identify with this guy pretending to be this big Casanova, but this guy singing about, it smells like Teen Spirit, or, these songs, I identify with that. That's who I am. So it was a cultural shift.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But also, I think in any case that's something beautiful, even if it was just like about all those 80s glitter or Sunset Strip. It's something that remains as beautiful it is, even for dreaming, because that's important. We need to dream, and every time I feel
it was.
Yeah,
I've met people that went to the Strip on the '60s when Janis was playing the Whiskey and Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin. And they would tell me, I knew Jimi Hendrix's personal photographer, Herbert Worthington, and he told me they would block off Sunset Strip for 2 miles, and they would bus people in from the villages in California just to go look at the weird hippies and the crazy people. There were naked people running around taking LSD. I mean, you could go into any of those clubs, the Troubadour and all that stuff, see Elton John, you could see Carly Simon, Carole King. It was a movement.
Yeah.
It was almost like a circus. And then when you got into the 80s, everybody's standing on a corner with hair this huge, which was inspired by the New York Dolls, let's be honest, and bands like that, and passing out promos for their show at the Whiskey on a Friday. And you're looking at all these freaks going, man, this is like a circus. It was like electric. For like 4 years, 5 years, it was like everybody was famous. Even the guys who weren't famous were dressing like they were famous. The women were dressing like they were supermodels. It was crazy. It was nuts.
And it changed, I think, it changed a lot of life, at least mine, because that's how I started. For me, as a woman, I had the female idol as Lorraine Lewis. I was looking at her, and today we are friends. I mean, that's like talking with one of my favorite musicians. And
Femme Fatale, I used to see them in clubs. I saw her band. They had
she's still today kicking there.
She would have these dance moves, like the whole band could do like these spins and do the splits on the floor, and they'd all jump up in time, and everything was choreographed. It was a whole different thing. And then you got the girl band movement came with the Runaways, and they kind of got more commercial. You had Vixen popped out of that, and all these girl bands, Madame X. I mean, I saw all those bands.
Of course. But just let's going back to the amazing song, because you mentioned already driver seat. So we add kind of
Mhm.
a little bit int. But driver seat is like, because of course it talks about, I think, someone sitting in the driver seat, someone driving.
Uh, it's to me, it's about putting the top down on the convertible and letting go of all the stress and the madness and taking control of your life. Hit the highway wide open and just let the wind blow through your hair and smile. It's going to be all right. And today, it actually hit number two in the top 10 of 97 Underground Radio in Washington, D.C. I've had two songs in the top 10 for 8 weeks now. It just moved up to number two. Bullet Train was number one for 6 weeks. That has not
Wow.
happened to me in 30 years.
I mean,
Yes, and this album has made an impact, and I'm
yeah,
thrilled. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, every day I wake up, it's like, oh, you're added to this station, you're added to that station. Oh, they're taking it
that's
here.
that's what you deserve, because Bangalore Choir deserved more back then, and now it's time to just not take it back,
It's
just show who you are today and always have been as a David,
yeah,
as a Bangalore Choir, and of course driver seat is, of course, I love the meaning, because let's admit it, who doesn't love to drive? I mean, at least, I mean, driving.
yeah,
The only thing of driving with music and going the highway, listening music, it could be the sunset, could be the dawn, the night, and
freedom.
I imagine, I know that each one of us has that song that we listen that moment of the day, or just even let maybe on target slow, go on
Yeah,
from Act One until the 16th song, just straight away. Could be a way to listen the album, and just we so let's say to the people, it's like a commercial. If you want to listen to feel the core of On Target, just jump in your car, put it on the stereo, whatever, and listen from the first to the last, and drive to your favorite places. Could be a good way.
I don't. You know, you have no idea how many times I've heard exactly what you said from fans. I just
Yeah,
got back from France Monday, and French people, it's hard to understand their English for me,
yeah.
but holding the record, the original copy from 1992, saying this record. I had one guy tell me that the record kept him from committing suicide. And I went, I don't know how to answer that. When somebody's crying and holding the record and say, this record saved my life, I don't know how to respond to that. I just hugged them and they're like, oh my God, this is such a special moment. And the guy's like
That's the best.
45 years old.
That's the
He
best
tells
song.
me, and then he says that about your music, and you
Of
go,
course.
wow, I had no idea. So,
Of course. And moving on with the third, of course, it's I guess it's really easy to understand about love and war, the meaning of it.
yeah,
It's
it's
because
it's the battle lines between love and war. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been married now for since 2015.
okay,
I've never been good at relationships. My job creates a weird
yeah,
insulation of you protect yourself, you get
yeah,
in bad relationships, and there's nothing worse to me than being in a combat zone with another person you really care for, but
exactly.
it doesn't work. It's like things are good one day, the next day it's disaster. So that's what love and war is about. You
It's
know,
about, yeah, it's
tap
about,
dance, tap dancing on a field of landmines is in there somewhere in the lyrics.
yeah,
It's like you're dancing in landmines before you blow yourself up and destroy everything.
yeah. It's a
I
relationship.
wrote that. I wrote that song with Mario Percadani. He
Okay,
was in Hardline, and
yeah.
Mario and I go back. He presented that riff to me, and I went, "That's great." And I said, "Let's record that." Boom.
That's good. That's, you see, that song that anyone can. I mean, it's everyone really can, and
Yeah,
we will of course will relate about that. As I guess also I never meant to. It's kind of a almost of the opposite of how does it feel? Kind of could have been.
I never meant to. I'm going to get dark here in a way, but it ends beautifully. I was married in the mid '90s.
Okay.
I have two daughters. I went through a terrible divorce, and when divorce happens, you know, one side of the family is telling the ex and the children this, your side is telling them bad things about them. So what happens to young kids is they typically stay with their mothers, so they take the mother's side. And when you're 2 or 3 years old, you believe everything you hear. And at that time, I was an alcoholic. I quit music. I was living 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to build a different business. And I didn't neglect my wife and kids, but I felt this need to support and make sure everything was okay. But what I was doing was pushing them away. So the music has actually been there for a few years. And Mario and I sat down. I said, Mario, let's revisit that melody. I want to write a song. It's like an explanation to my daughters, who are both adults now. And when it was done, I sent it to both of them. I said, I can't speak about this in words, but maybe this song you'll understand. And it opened a new door to where now we're talking and communicating. We've all gotten older. There's water under the bridge. I never meant to hurt you. I never meant to make you cry. It's got kind of a Toto vibe in it, the groove and stuff as well. And that's kind of because of Mario, because he loves Toto and so do I. But it just is a deep song. I actually was filming live parts for that for the next video. It's going to be the next single.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't catch what I wanted. I wanted to find Gothic French, atmospheric places to film, and the chaos that happens on tour. I didn't have the time. So, and when I go out on the 25th of November with Girls Go in Alcatraz, I'm going to film those weird moments on the road with people and compile as much as I can into 4 minutes. And maybe cut some expressions of people arguing on the street or somebody that looks lonely at a bus stop, a train station, and then that will be it. But that song is very personal to me and my life.
It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing it here with me. It's really
Thank you for asking.
No, it's really beautiful, important. Yeah.
Okay. What's next?
But Bullet Train, the one that ate the
Bullet Train. I've never been to Japan. I've had promised tours there 100 times, and it never worked out. Friends of mine tell me about the Bullet Train, how great it is. It's, you go 250K per hour, and you're in the. That's how you tour on the Bullet Train. So I always wanted to get on one, but the concept is Bullet Train to nowhere. You're on a fast train to nowhere. It talks about corporate greed in the music business. It talks about all these things that, you know what, just step back, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
You don't have to play the game with the monsters. Get on the bullet train and just leave it all behind.
Yeah, exactly. This is such an important thing about today, and also could be helpful for those young, we can say young musicians that want to start, but I think anyone that wants to start a dream or pursue a dream or pursue their life, just start.
I've learned something about that. And in the music business, when I first got signed to the major record companies, you're terrified that they're going to drop you any moment. There's no real commitment to the artist. It's all about the numbers. It's all about the money. I learned one day I was listening to a big meeting. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And the guitar player's looking at me going, this is insane. What are they talking about? I'm not doing that. And I said, oh, we have to do that. We'll play the corporate game, right? Excuse me. And one day I was listening to this conversation and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And I was so frightened to speak my mind because they would drop us if you don't, because they're paying the bills basically in the beginning. And when I said no, they all looked at me in shock and said, okay, so what would it take to make you happy? It was really frustrating to realize that I could have been more ballsy.
Okay.
And the realization was, I don't have to do what they're telling me. I'm a person.
Of course, it's
and it was shocking because I ended up getting way more money and more promotion because I said no, like the guitar player was saying, don't do it, don't do it. But I was scared. Now my new saying is no is a complete sentence. When I say no, and it doesn't feel right in my stomach, I'm not going to do it.
Exactly.
And I suggest all your listeners and you, if it doesn't feel right, be yourself and just say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. And it's not the end of the world. Maybe you miss an opportunity. but you were at least honest to yourself.
Exactly. No, that's amazing, and I really thank you for that, because
Thank you.
that's what I always thought about. You have to listen to your gut and your body, because if saying something,
Exactly.
no, you have to listen. And
Listen to your gut.
yeah, and the last two songs that we have, it's Swimming with the Shark and the Light.
Swimming with the Sharks, I wrote with a guy in Switzerland named Marco Pittori.
Okay.
It was originally a punk song.
Okay.
And he had asked me to sing for him during the COVID lockdown. And I'm like, okay. So he sends me this goofy song, and it was really punk, new wave. And I'm like, that's not me. But we were all starving during COVID. I couldn't leave my yard. I mean, here in Italy, I couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
we were
I got paid. I kind of prostituted myself, I guess you could say, to record the song. And me and the engineer are laughing while we're doing the song. This is ridiculous. What are we doing? Well, Giles Lavery, the A&R person at Brave Words, revisited that track, and he said, David, if you recorded that again in an up-tempo, heavier feel, like a Billy Idol, Steve Stevens kind of thing, I think there's something to that humor in that song. So it's about a dumb guy in San Francisco running into this crazy woman from Greece, and it's total madness being involved. He's swimming with a shark. And if you listen to the lyrics, it's kind of tongue in cheek. It's not really. I changed some of the words. Diego Pieters, the other my live guitar player, he changed the riff a little bit to make it more Van Halen like.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a fun song, and it's so weird because in Europe you do a lot of interviews like I'm doing with you.
Yeah.
And some territories love this song or that song. It's kind of consistent. But in Germany, Swimming with the Shark is all over the radio. They love it.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what? It was like shocking to me. They always say Swimming with the Shark. And I'm like, really? So it worked. Giles, I have to give him credit. He was right. He goes, I think there's something to that. So
that's a cool song. And the last one we left is The Light.
Yes. That's about me.
Okay.
I was born in Oklahoma in not a very wealthy family. My grandfather and grandmother were he worked for the oil company. So they moved every year. And basically what his job was to make sure the oil wells were working.
Okay.
But these rich oil people had lots of cows and livestock. So they would put them on their farms, and his job was to take care of them. So when I would listen to my grandmother's music, which was country, it was played all day in the house. And she was always singing, smoking cigarettes. That was my inspiration. But I would go in my bedroom and grab this wooden closet full of hang clothes and look in the mirror and pretend I was George Jones or, Hank Sr. or Conway Twitty. And I, dance like him, like Elvis. So if you listen to it, I grabbed that curtain rod like a microphone. Blah, 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 blah. It's a story kind of like Shooting Star with Bad Company, where the dream is there. You go out to Hollywood or wherever you go.
Yeah.
You get that taste of the fame and fortune, and it all ends. And then you end up back where you started from. And it's basically, the light has died on the stage tonight, is what it says in the chorus. So I'm a big Blackberry Smoke fan. I love the Allman Brothers. I love Tom Petty. I love all of that simple lyric. Where Tom Petty can say in 3 words more than I can say in 10 words. And that's the genius of the poetry that those guys wrote. Like, I won't back down. I mean, it's so simple, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool.
And The Light is about my journey in the music business from a child until coming back home.
It's especially for now, because we're stopping in the first act, it's really a lot about, there's a personal also from your life, and there's also to some fun, there's some dream in it. It's really beautiful, and diving into it, and I'm looking forward to start the other one in January, because we will do another one. We take a little bit because you're going on tour now, so you will be touring in Europe.
Yes.
So of course you're gonna be on the road, and for people, if they want to know the live shows, they can go to the website, social media. Of course, I will put the link for just be updated.
You're wonderful, Ada. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Grazie mille.
David, I mean, I have to show you, and I will find that folder with all. It was called Hard Rock 90s. I remember. I don't know many songs that are of a Bangalore choir. I have to show you.
Yeah.
I told you it was there. And also I think I should have it in a tape or MP3, at least for my generation. I thought I started, and everyone was asking me all the time, where do you get all this band? And I always have to thank, I don't know who did it for my generation, at least put on YouTube all those video, live recordings, live shows, even some song of Bangalore Choir, Bullet Boys, I don't know, Tora Tora, of all these amazing bands, because everyone keep on, Cat and Boots, keep on asking me where this band came. There are so amazing talented band, which I hope that they came even more.
And for those of us that are still alive,
Yeah,
it's so strange how music comes back full circle. Last week I was looking at Billboard, the American Billboard charts.
Yeah.
For the first time in 30 years, rap is not in the top 20. And you know what's coming back? Hard rock. And I was like fascinated. It's coming back. And all these young bands that I find like on Instagram or TikTok, there are some bands out there that are kicking my ass. That are like, who's that singer? And that band, 3 guys were the lead singer, and they're doing what they were doing in the 70s. I'm like, oh my God, it's coming back.
And there is a band that I have to interview on Wednesday. They're called Vain Wild. They're from UK.
I heard of them.
I have to get this guy, because they even keep the perfection that there was in the 80s. Of course, they should be more fun, but I have to still to talk with them. They're so cute, they're so nice, and we need. We kind of need, but I mean, the inspiration is you. The inspiration is Miljanko Matijevic. The inspiration is Todd Paul. There's so many people in this field. Joel Ellis in this field. Stephen Piercy. We can go on and on and on. For me.
Well, look at Stephen and Warren. I mean, when rap broke up, I knew Robin, God rest his soul, and Warren invited me to his house after Bangalore Choir and was thinking about doing a band. And I went to this modest little house. He had his wife and his 2 children. His son's name is Wyatt. And I looked around and I said, this guy has sold 20 million records, but he's not living in a mansion. And I said, can I ask you a question? He goes, all the guys in the band bought the big cars. They bought the big houses. I knew one day this was going to end. So I put a lot of money in a trust account for my children. And I bought a house I could afford. I'm just a guitar player. And I looked at him. I said, this guy's got smarts. But now the way that Warren and Stefan are back together is a cancellation for a big festival called M3. And they needed a Sunday night headliner, so that they called Warren and said, is there any chance that you and Steven could do a rap tribute? And he goes, let me call him. They said, yeah, we'll do it. And now it's Piercy DiMartini are out playing rap songs with Carlos Cavazo and the drummer Blas Eliason, I think, from Slaughter is in the band.
Slaughter, Blas Eliason, it's amazing. But
it's all kind of coming back.
I hope. This is the war. I wish I could have lived a part of that life, because I think always missed. But at least I'm born in the 80s, at least.
You didn't miss it. You're living it now. We're talking now.
Exactly. Before
you're living the dream.
I really thank you, David, for this interview, and looking forward to talk to you soon again. For anything, we have your emails. Let's stay in touch. And thank you. This was amazing. The first act. Have a beautiful tour, and kick the ass outside with the rock and roll. Thank you so much.
Okay, and don't forget, Bangalore Choir Alcatraz Girls School begins Belgium November 25th. We cruise all the way through Europe. We've got, I think, 14 shows, one day off. It's going to be a tough tour, but we're all talking. We're all excited. Today, I'm arranging all the hotels. I mean, I've been on the phone all day.
I will put everything on YouTube to
share with me, and I'll share your stuff all over my social. I thank you and your listeners.
Of course. Thank you so much, David. See you soon then. Bye.
Arrivederci.
Ciao, David.
Ciao. Bye.